Hi there again, everybody. Welcome back to Prestige Auctions podcast, and this is episode number 5
already.
I think it is episode number 5 already. So, Chris, tell me, how's the room coming along?
Which one?
Let's see how well you can do this one then. So, of course, this is going out on the first Friday of our shutdown. And how's the room coming along? Have you got all the walls out yet?
Fantastic. Look, no injuries.
How's the heating system?
Yeah, working lovely, jubbly.
Extractor?
Yeah, sucking everything out, good and proper.
Is it really? And how are the staff? Are they all behaving themselves?
Miserable sods.
Oh dear, normal then.
I've got 2 that should be sacked. 1 that should be institutionalised.
Only 1?
2.
2. What about yourself?
I'm already there.
Oh, you've been gone a long time.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody, you know, we're kidding around. We're filming all these on the Monday before we go, and we're just going to kind of wing it a little bit today about what we're going to talk about, because we've got no auction to talk about because we haven't just done one.
You mean there's life outside an auction?
No, there isn't.
Well, we're going to struggle then, aren't we? I
want to talk today. I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter today, because while we're away, while me and Alyssa are away, we are hoping to do something. We're trying to work it out this week, actually, aren't we?
Yeah.
Where we can maybe do a podcast between Qatar and GRIMSBY. So we'll see if we can make that happen.
Are you going to cut some footage in?
Yeah. We can. We'll see if we can make that happen. I'm not sure we can, but we'll look at that. But because, do you know what? When you get into this industry, listen here, kids, right? When you get addicted to this industry, and it is an addiction, isn't it? It really is an addiction. It's very similar to gambling, but bringing the odds into your favour with knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
So once this gets into your bloodstream and under your skin, you every week thinking you're looking for opportunity all the time, aren't you? Everything that, when it comes to buying and selling and reselling and all this, everything has got opportunity. What do I mean by that? Well, much like a cobbler, I don't know where cobbler came from, but much like a cobbler will probably sit there and look at your shoes. And
you better not.
And think, oh, his sole doesn't look very good. Yeah. Or a dentist might look at somebody's teeth and think, you've been to Turkey, haven't you? Or much like a builder might look at a wall and go, it's not level, that. Okay. When you're a reseller, doesn't matter where you go, what you do, even in your friends' houses, you sit and value everything.
Yeah, you're working it out.
You can't help it because you see something in front of you and you think, it's worth a few quid.
Do you know what that's worth?
Do you know what? So in your previous life and in your life somewhere, I think you have a lot to do with garage doors, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been in the garage door trade.
Do you still do it, Chris?
I do. Yeah, I do emergency call outs and fix cables when they break and things like that.
So there you go. Just quick plug for Chris there. That Chris has been doing garage doors for many years. So if anyone's got a problem with a garage door, have a chat with Chris because you keep your hand in a bit, don't you?
I do. Cleethorpes. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of emergency call outs, but not on a Monday.
Not on a Monday, no. No, we can't have them on a Monday.
I'm working too hard on Monday.
But
wearing gloves out.
So in Chris's previous life, and I suppose that must, sort of similar thing. When people know that you're a garage repairman, you all of a sudden become the go-to person, don't you?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're around let's say you're around at one of Kim's friends or something, and they, what do you do? Because, I work at Prestige Auctions. I do a bit of reselling, and I do a bit of garage door. Oh, you wouldn't just have a quick look at mine, would you? It's sticking. Do you find you've had that in the past?
It happens all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Or if you tell somebody that you work at the auction and you're involved in buying and selling, you're immediately taken straight away across to the...
This is what I'm coming to.
Well, I've had this torquay wear for 30 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's worth any money?
Oh, mate.
And you can't just say it's just rubbish, can you?
But sometimes it's better. It ends the conversation quicker if you do.
Yeah, but you just look at them and they're looking at you like, he's going to tell me it's worth a fortune.
Chris, can you imagine what it's like for me? I mean, it does Lisa's head in, and I get it, because we'll go somewhere and they'll go, "Oh, you're an auctioneer, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. You wouldn't just have a quick look at this for me, would you? I've had it sat in the bottom of the cupboard for years, and I think it's not worth anything." And sometimes you just want to go, "You were right." But you can't let people down like that, can you?
It's worse when you're at the antique centre and somebody's just moving in with all their hopes and aspirations, and the boxes arrive and the nice shelving units and all the painted stuff, and then they start getting plates out.
Not the dreaded plates.
Yeah.
Not the 20th century rip-off plates.
No, it's all that faith and hope is there in a piece of unsellable porcelain
with a cat on it.
Yeah. It says Wedgwood.
Oh God, yeah. So if any plate says Wedgwood or Royal Dalton on it, then people are excited about it. The only time I get excited really about seeing a decent plate is if it says Royal Crown Derby on it. If it says Royal Crown Derby, I'm a lot more excited because I know it's going to sell, whereas the others are 50-50 whether they're going to sell.
Oh yeah, there's tons of it.
But I do find that myself as an auctioneer and valuer. As soon as you get around somebody else, it's like, can you just have a look at this? Or the worst one as well is I do a bit of my own sort of jewellery polishing and mending and stuff like that. Lisa bought me all the kit, so I am sort of all the gear, no idea. But I actually can do a few bits. And the amount of time somebody comes around and Lisa says, "Oh yeah, well, Carl will do that for you." Next thing, I'm in the shed polishing
spoons,
cleaning up a nice diamond ring or whatever, and they do come out looking nice. Or I'm on the buffer, buffing the gold and that, and I'm like, they're all sat in there drinking tea, and I'm in the shed.
You're still at work, aren't you?
But I can't do that anymore because there's that much crap there now. I can't find anything. It just became the dumping ground because when the shed started leaking, everything got chucked in there. So
that's one slight problem with buying and selling, is that you'll never have any spare space in your house. Kitchen's full, bedroom's full.
This is very true.
Shed's full.
This is very, very true.
There's still last week's auctions purchases floating around in the back of the van.
Yeah, and you get this other thing as well. So you go to an auction, right? So on a reseller side, and all your resellers will laugh a little bit at this when you go, because it's very true. You go and buy a job lot or something, and it's all new and it's exciting, and you can't wait to get it on eBay and all the rest of it, and you sell 50% of it.
Yeah,
and then you're out that 3 weeks later because you've got some money again and all the rest of it. You've built up some money. And you're going, another job lot of stuff. And then you're excited about that. And it all goes in front of the old one.
Yeah.
Now you times that by 5 years. And it almost becomes like Earth's crust on it. There's different layers. Some are just getting older and older. The great thing about it is some of the oldest ones, when you forget about them for years, they sometimes gain in value.
I've done that. Yeah.
It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then others don't.
If you've got some Ladro, and then like 5 years later you've come to sell it.
Oh yeah.
And then
and you're like, oh, no one wants it anymore. Or it's not the easiest thing.
It's down at the bottom of the crust.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just interesting that, when people, the thing I want to talk about today, because I know we just constantly talk about auctions and that. I want to talk about charity shops, and what do you think to charity shops? What's your overall view of charity shops right now?
It's a bit disappointing.
From a reseller's, we're not going to start slagging charity shops off, just so you know. What we want to talk about is from a reseller's point of view. What do you think to how charity shops are these days?
Disappointing. And it's changed over the last probably 5 years.
Did you used to like charity shops?
Yeah.
I used to love them.
Yeah. Well, they're all linked to eBay. Well, they're not all, but a lot of them are linked to eBay now, aren't they? It's even on the labels, into the barcoded. So it comes off their stock list if you go in, because obviously I now shop at Bernardo's.
You've gone up.
Yeah, I've come away from stealing off washing lines. Bananas.
Oh, I thought you were still doing that. When you go in for boxes of clothes for the auction.
Oh, it's still pegs on it.
Wooden ones. But no, I think years ago, I mean, there used to be a charity shop in Claythorpes called Project, I want to say it was called Project 92, something like that. And the guy that used to own it, again, don't quote me on this, I think the guy's name was Pete Stacey, something like that. And I used to work for Whitegate Leisure in Claythorpes at Pier 39 and at the amusement arcades and that as well. And Project 92 was right next door to the Empire, and I think it's called the Care Shop these days. Which is, I always thought it was a bit strange that there was like a charity shop on the seafront, but there you go.
There is now, isn't there?
You know, this is it. That's the one.
Is that the same
it's called
one?
The Care Shop now, yeah. Well, when it was Project 92, and I used to remember going in there and rummaging around that place and finding so much good stuff. But that was sort of either pre-internet or the very early days of the internet, where nobody had all the knowledge in their hands. There weren't smartphones and stuff like that. There was telephone boxes, and so you couldn't sort of ring somebody up. I've just found a Beatles record. You couldn't tell me a bit about it. There was none of this smartphone stuff. But I just think it's a shame that there aren't still charity shops where they just put the stuff out to sell. They could just still do the research and still sell it to the general public at a reasonable price. Why do you think they have to put everything to the internet now? Just because, granted, just so they're getting more money. I mean, charity shops, I don't know. I don't want to have a go at them because, I do believe a lot of charity shops do a very, very good job. But I also think there's a lot of people in senior positions in charity shops that are making a lot of money. And all that's got to come out the healthy bottom line. And, well, there's not much of a healthy bottom line because of all the costs. I remember watching a show years and years and years ago, to be fair, about charity Christmas cards. Realising that one of the big charities, big name charities is, for every £1 that was spent, 1 penny went to the charity because the rest was administration costs. And it does sort of make you question.
You don't know that up front, do you, when you're dealing with them?
I mean, I used to love. We used to donate a lot to charity ourselves. We used to donate a lot to charity from Prestige, and to be fair, if there's any charities out there that would like to come and take away our not sold items from clearances on a week-to-week basis, you're more than welcome to them. Because pre-COVID, we used to have that happen. And then after COVID, they stopped doing it. They stopped coming and taking the stuff. Yet, do you know what? From the not sold piles, there's some bloody good stuff in there. Some weeks in there. And, it's one of those things when it comes to the charity shops. I just wish they were like they used to be. They just were such. I always thought there was always a certain smell.
What was that smell like?
It was kind of fussed, wasn't it? It's kind of a fusty smell when you went to a charity shop. Whereas these days they're all sort of air conditioned and like really nice displays and everything.
The displays are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah. Whereas back in the day, I mean,
there were just boxes of stuff, weren't
it was just boxes of stuff got put out.
Do you remember jumble sales?
Jumble sales. I remember queuing to go into jumble
sales. They did charge you 50p to go in, and then it were like stampede at a buffet, weren't it?
Yeah. Oh, there'd be clothes flying everywhere, weren't there?
You don't see jumble sales anymore.
No, we do. St Giles at Grimsby, they still do them. Tabletop sales and stuff.
It used to be like a community hall thing, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, God, I remember going to a jumble sale down, I think it was either Heneage Road or Ayton Avenue, one of the two, at this sort of church hall. And there was a queue sort of 50 deep outside, of people, dealers and God knows what else. And, all trying to jump in and buy tat. And we actually went and sold that tat that we bought at, now you probably won't round it at this point, but of course the big boot sale in the area these days is Hemswell. That's like the biggest.
Yeah.
I say in the area, it's quite a way out of the area. But the biggest boot sale in the area used to be just down the road from Hemswell at Canby Corner.
Right.
Canby Corner Field was a humongous. If any of you remember Canby Corner, drop a comment on there. Who remembers Canby Corner
Is
boot
that where
sales?
the grass trap racing is?
Across the road.
Right.
Across the road there. And it was, Chris, it was massive. But you had no internet then. So, when people were doing boot sales, and it was kind of the earlier days of the boot sales and that. So, an interesting point here. I'm going to try and get the name right. If anyone ever wants to read a book, now I'm not a big reader, but one book that is really worth a read is by a woman called Lorne Spicer. Lorne Spicer made up a lot of the BBC shows like Car Booty and all the rest of it.
Right.
And I read her book, and she was, if I remember rightly, Lorne, if you do watch this, if you do watch this podcast by any some slim chance, I seem to remember in your book it stated that you was doing media or something like that at university or college or whatever, and she was in Essex because she's a proper Essex girl, and she stopped by this car boot fair, as they call them down there, and looked and was mesmerised, and she went on to make a lot of money, I think, from what she did, and with some great ideas. And when you look at some of the things that she did to make money, kind of inspired me a little. She was so clever thinking about how she could make money. Taking pictures from things, somebody else's old pictures, and getting Royal Dalton to commission things and stuff, and then selling them on limited edition and selling out in a day and stuff. And it's a very, really interesting book. I can't remember what it's called. It seems to be about a yellow cover, but Lorne Spicer, worth looking up. And if you need that little bit of inspiration to become a reseller, I think one of the things that did inspire me, obviously we've discussed this week talking about how I got into the trade and that this week, and that's going to be a whole different podcast. But when I remember the old charity shops and the flea markets, the jumble sales, whatever you want to call it, they were quite special, weren't they? They were. I
remember them as a kid.
Yeah,
I remember going with my pocket money, and if I remember right, I was never allowed any motorbike stuff because my mum didn't want me having a motorbike. She'll be looking, she'll be watching. I weren't allowed a motorbike.
No.
And I bought something at a jumble sale, some Evil Knievel.
Evil Knievel.
You know the ones that you wound up like that?
The red one? Yeah, the red one.
And you let it go. I think I bought one of them from a jumble sale, and I remember getting back home and it had to go.
I was going to sneeze then. So, well, that was it. And did as a kid, did you ever do jumble sales outside your front gate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't see that very often anymore, do you?
Mablethorpe, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been down to Mablethorpe in winter?
No.
It's desolate.
It's not great in the summer. Actually, no, I take that back. I like Mablethorpe. I prefer Mablethorpe to Skeg, actually.
Yeah, I do.
It's a lot quieter, and it's just nice down there.
It's a bit like when you go around some places in America, and then they have all the tables outside their houses, and there's loads of worldly goods on it.
Garage sales, as they call them.
Yard sales.
Yard sales, that's the one.
I've seen loads of that down Mablethorpe.
He used to get them. He used to be able to advertise in the Grimsby Telegraph if he was ever doing something like that, and you could put it in for free.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone buys the Grimsby Telegraph anymore. I don't really see it. You see it in the odd shop, but of course, them days the internet's changed all that as well, hasn't it? So,
can you remember buying out of Exchange and Mart? That yellow one.
Yeah, Exchange and Mart. Yeah, that was a good one as well. Well, just thinking on that, because you've made me really think of something now. Back in the day, and I'm going back to probably, I want to say the 1980s here, in the Saturday Telegraph, used to have the Saturday £10 and under page.
Free ads.
Yeah. And there'd be because the paper used to be about these big, didn't they?
Yeah.
In them days. And you used to sit there when it Saturday came out looking at all the ads, and you'd just ring them up and go and buy them.
Yeah.
And all the good stuff was always gone instantly. I reckon that somebody at the Telegraph used to ring them before it went out.
Before it came out.
Yeah. because you had all that, and of course the youngsters, if there are any youngsters that kind of watch this sort of thing, that you'll never experience that. Everything was a race to, and I think that's one of the reasons why so much stuff is devalued, is because everything was a lot harder to get hold of back then.
Yeah.
Whereas now, of course, the internet just takes that away from you. I'm just checking your mic, mate. Yeah, the internet takes that away from you in terms of it's all in front of you every day. Isn't it?
It's instant now.
Yeah.
Buy it now, pay for it now. Free delivery, fast and free delivery. If you got the exchange of mart on a Thursday, you were at the shop at 8 o'clock, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? Back with the charity shops and that again. I remember we used to go in the charity shops. If you bought a few bits as well, the person behind the counter would do you a deal.
Yeah.
You know, and there was no.
Mind you, I've been to a charity shop in Beverley where they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
they put it behind the counter, and then they sort of like you'd got like about a dozen items or so, and they'd say, "Oh, call that 20 quid for that lot."
Yeah, which do you know what? I don't want to have a go at charity shops because I really feel there's a good place for them, but in fact, actually, the other week we was clearing a property out of town, and when I looked in of course, most clothes when it comes to us on house clearance gets disposed, as you well know, and I just opened these wardrobes and they were just full of really good clothes, and I'm not going to say where I was. I don't want to give anything away. We was out of town though, and I rang up 2 local charity shops, local to where we were. Neither of them would take the stuff, either because it wasn't taken in day, or they didn't have enough space, or they didn't have a van to come and get it, or whatever. I even said I'd take it to them, and they still said no, which quite surprised me. So I rang up. I will say the name of this one. I rang up St Andrew's Hospice in Grimsby and said, "Look, it's Carl from Prestige Clearance. We're clearing an house out of town. I've just opened all these wardrobes, and there's all of this fantastic clothing that had all been dry cleaned. If it was in the the polythene things and that, can I drop it off to you?" I went, "There's quite a bit." "Absolutely, yeah." And I dropped it all off at St Andrews on the roundabout there, and they were really grateful for it. So that's good. I mean, St Andrews of all the charities, they do a good job. They do what I believe in what they do. Again, I'll reserve my same things about the charity shops and the way things are done as I would with all charity shops, but I think their cause is quite good.
Some people can make a living out of charity shop hunting, can't they?
They can be, but you do. People may be taking the pick of stuff as well. Maybe before it goes out in the shop. Who knows? You don't
First
know,
dibs.
do you? Yeah, you don't know. I mean, let's face it. I remember my dad years and years ago. He used to work at Ron Ramsden's. Right now, this is great. This because as a member, any Ron Ramsden staff might remember this. So in the 1980s, Dad would come home with a carrier bag full of cans with no labels on them. So in the shop in Ronnie Ramsden's, you'd have all these different cans everywhere. And of course, sometimes back in they weren't so good back then, a lot of labels would come off.
Yeah.
So all these labels used to go into a big basket or a trolley out the back, and they could buy them at like a penny a can or 2p a can or whatever.
Set your chance.
But your dad would come home with like 10 or 15 cans of whatever. And you'd like, "Oh, nice one." And you'd be like shaking the cans, hoping it would be like Mandarin segments or pear halves or something, or rice pudding as a kid, because we didn't get stuff like that. We really didn't. We just ate what we ate. That was it. The only thing you was pretty sure that it never was going to be was dog food. We always got told that, and there never was a can of dog food. But you'd be like that. Your mum would sit there and go, "Right, I'm going to open a couple of cans." Like everyone's round, looking at the can,
watching the opening.
There's me and my brother like that. Rice pudding. What is it? New potatoes. There's no worse taste in the world, is there, than tinned new potatoes? You ever had tinned new potatoes?
Yeah, they're
the work of the devil.
They're like eating aluminium.
Yeah. And then the next can would be open, you'd be like that. Anything but new potatoes. Don't want to eat them once, and she'll give me more. And of course, she was always hoping it'd be something, but it'd always be like something like spaghetti bolognese or beans or something.
Red kidney beans.
Well, red kidney beans, but yeah, but after Esther Ranson came out of everything back in the day, no one wanted them, did they? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Kidney beans were killing people. It's just,
Death by beans.
just not good. So when these it was like a can hunt every week. You know, Dad would be home with the cans and that, and it's just Ron Ramson said, "Do you remember Ron Ramson?"
I remember the one just down here on the corner.
The big one.
Before they squashed it and put a coffee shop up.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit of news. The glass cabinet just through this wall here. Yeah. That's from Ron Ramson's when they shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in we actually went in to try and buy the mezzy floor that was in their warehouse, but it was too big. And it wouldn't have really fitted to what we wanted to do. But we ended up buying that cabinet for
It's quite an interesting shop, that one on the corner.
Yeah.
Did it have a cafe in it as well?
It did. He had a cafe run by Skelton's. Skelton's used to run the cafe in there. Of course, Skelton's are no more these days. They've gone as well, and they're now Coupland's, aren't they?
Mm.
And but Ron Ramson's was a supermarket that was probably always going to finish when you look at modern day supermarkets. But of course, from Ron Ramson's became DB's as well, and DB's is from what I can gather, is one of the biggest food wholesalers in Europe potentially, and so of course they've still got the big place up here. I'm not quite sure what this has got to do with reselling or anything, but it has actually, because do you know what? I've been in DB's in the past, earlier in the days of, and this is something we've toyed with for the auction recently as well. We used to go in there, and sometimes they'd have like 50 boxes of crisps at £1 a box.
Yeah.
And I'd just go in and say, I'll take them all.
Yeah.
And they'd load them into the van for me, because their port has helped. And even at a cash and carry. And they'd load them into the van, and I stuck them in the auction with like a £2 minimum bid. And even if I only saw, I used to get like £3 and £4 a box for them. We have actually toyed with bringing a pallet of food in, because you're an auction room, you sell everything.
Yeah.
You're here to sell things, and every time we did put food in here in the past, and Christmas toys and all the rest of it, it all did well. We even did a firework auction one year, and that sold really well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because why wouldn't you? You know, why? There's nothing. There's no restrictions to say that auctions are only for one thing or another.
Why don't we do a blind box auction?
A blind box auction. Oh, what about? That's not a bad idea. What about a reverse auction?
Yeah.
You ever seen a reverse auction?
Is it Dutch, is it? Is that what they call it?
No, the reverse auction. Right, everybody, listen to this. This is what you do. You put the item in front of you. Let's say it was an iPhone. Yeah. You put it there like I say, right, lot number 1 is an iPhone. Right, we're going to start at 100, 95, 90, 85, 80, 75, 70. Soon as somebody's hand comes up, they win it.
The bravest one.
The bravest one.
Yeah.
They are quite good fun, actually. We might do something like that at Christmas. Right. You just wait there a minute, Chris, because I want to show everybody something now. This is really... So, we promised you a few weeks ago at Prestige that we was having some merchandise done. Well, the first of the merchandise items have actually arrived at Prestige Auctions. We actually started selling them on Saturday, believe it or not. And, of course, this is probably... the most popular one, or should be. This is there you go.
Ariel.
Ariel. How can you? Right, said Fred. I'm Team Carl at Prestige Auctions, because we've had these little cartoon characters done. So if you're Team Carl, there you go. You can buy one of these mugs off us now. But of course, there's the dreaded Team Lisa mug. There you go. There you go. Now, I can tell you, everybody, that Lisa is actually outselling me 3 or 4 to 1 at the moment, something like that. And he bought one of her mugs. He did it. Okay. But if you're on the fence, Team Carl, Team Lisa. Okay. And that's was with a little auctioneers gaveling around. But of course, if you are looking seriously, if you are looking for people for stocking fillers, dads, granddads, nanas, mums, whatever, that love watching the auction, then we've done these ones as well. So we've got this one here with our logo, and it says making money at Prestige Auctions. Okay. And then we've got this one here, don't tell the wife I'm at Prestige Auctions. Okay. because we used to get that a lot, didn't we? And this one here, if you're sitting at home, if you're a Saturday watcher of the auction on YouTube or on Facebook, leave me alone. I'm watching Prestige Auctions. Well, these do come in a nice little presentation box as well, and they are £7.50 each, and they're available to buy from the office at Prestige Auctions. So if you do want one of those, drop us a line or drop into the auction room. If you are watching from away and you'd like to have one of those, then do just drop us an email or a text or whatever, and we can get one of those sent through the post for you as well. Okay, Chris, right, I know we've got one more to do yet, so we'll best leave that one there. So anything left for you to put in on this one?
What else have you got coming?
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, the rest of the merchandise is going to be available from when we get back, when the auction reopens in November, and we're going to be selling coats, hoodies, beanie hats, T-shirts, polo shirts, you name it, key rings. There's all sorts coming.
New gloves.
Maybe some new gloves for you. We'll give you a pair of new gloves. Anyway, because you work so hard, Chris.
I know, I'm upset at that.
So, what I would say to everybody, what we give you is just our opinion, okay? It's up to you what you decide to do. Don't give up on charity shops. Charity shops are still good places to go. They're just a lot different to what we remember, aren't they?
Yeah.
And so charity shops, get yourself down there, support. But what I would say to you, this is my personal opinion, support local charity shops. Local small charity shops are doing a lot of good stuff for the local community and stuff like that. And there you go.
And how is everybody doing on their challenges?
Well, has anybody else got involved with the challenge? Now, I did watch Penny Pincher the other night, and they're doing a £20 challenge now as well on the Penny Pincher site. So Penny Pincher, two lads, twins that come into our auction room. They've got a fantastic YouTube channel, Penny Pincher. They're always talking about coins and coins and notes and that. Go and have a look at their site and drop them a like as well and a follow. But as I say, it's always important to us as YouTubers for you to subscribe to our channel. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. And also, if you are deciding to watch our stuff and you want to be notified when more content is put on, then hit the notification bell as well. And it does help us a lot if you leave a comment. So, anything else for you, Chris, for this week?
No, I'm done.
You all done? Right,
done.
Okay. So that's it for one more week. Thank you ever so much, everybody, for watching Prestige Auctions podcast. We'll be back again next week. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
And we'll see you all very soon at the auction.